You do the intro then.
I'll do the intro.
How long you got? Right. One sec. Go. Welcome back to the episode.
I was doing it.
Hey, I thought I was doing it.
Cut.
No, not cut. We'll keep that. Yeah. Okay. Welcome back. No, this is going to be one take now.
Okay.
Right. Welcome back. No, it's not though, is it? It's not though, is it?
Go on.
Right. Like, we'll start from here, yeah? Welcome back to another episode of RecTalk. Our guest today is James Whitelock, Managing Director of Thinking Circles.
Are you reading off cue cards?
Yeah, exactly. Is that my LinkedIn profile you've got there?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I keep calling you James Whitlock, that's why.
Oh, don't do that. It's an E. It's an E in it.
I know, right?
Yeah,
right. Like, just...
I get it all the time, though. I get it all the time.
I know my surname. People call me Mitchell. I was like, well, how is Michael Mitchell? I don't get that.
Is it not Mitchell?
No.
I've been calling you Mitchell for years.
Yeah. I thought it was the Mitchell Sharma group that I was involved in. Yeah.
No, it's all
mate,
good. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, right? Yeah. Do I say kind of like long-time listener, first-time caller or something like that? You know what I mean? But
yeah, we've got 6 of those.
No, but it's an absolute pleasure to be here. It's a great setup you got here. As I said, as a fellow podcaster, I am full-on jealous of how this setup you got going on.
Mate, you're more than welcome to use the studio whenever you want.
Yeah,
and this is all Nathan's idea. If you watch the pilot episode, it was fucking. Like,
it was just like these 2 chairs, yeah.
Oh, mate, when I first did mine, like the first few episodes of mine, were awful. I went back and edited them because they were so bad, right? About when we got to episode 50.
Intentionally left them on there so people were like, oh, look at the evolution of how like they started giving a shit. Like, about episode 6, they started caring about presentation and sound quality.
We looked like we were doing it out of a prison cell, didn't we? Yeah, it wasn't that great, but then it started to kind of get there, and before we do it, it turned into this.
Yeah, it looks slick. It is very slick.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Jealous.
Yeah, well, there you go. Right, you're here to talk about recruitment marketing today. I put a poll out just before this, which I put it out last night, not expecting it to really get much traction, but it's done really well. And what I put out,
good marketing, that is.
That is good marketing. Yeah. I posed the question: are sales and marketing one and the same in the recruitment industry?
Before you answer that, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I was going to give the poll results first, and then...
No, I'd say we find out what James thinks, and
fair?
then see if
we could do that, yeah. Give a chance for him.
See if he knows...
So you're going to ask a marketeer whether marketing and sales are the same thing.
Haven't you got in your...
Are they one in the same?
In your bio, you've got it as Thinking Circles is sales and marketing, right?
Yeah, well, I think we kind of... Yeah, it's because we work with the sales teams, right? Because recruitment is effectively a sales job, right? So that's the people that we want to work with. But the techniques are 2 different things. It is an absolute fact no. Marketing is completely different to sales, right? I don't know if that matches your poll.
Overwhelmingly, the answers are no.
What are the percentages?
85% say no, 15% said yes.
I'd agree with that. I don't think sales and marketing are the same.
No.
I think there's definite crossover.
I think there's times when it does cross over, right? But, there's 2 different disciplines, right? Would you get your sales team to do the marketing, or are you going to get your marketeers to do the sales? Right? No, because they're 2 different kind of ways of working, 2 different sets of goals, 2 different kinds of KPIs. But it doesn't mean they don't ever cross over.
Why do they get banded together then? Why is it a sales and marketing thing then?
Because I think it's a historical thing, right? That it seemed to be exactly the same thing, right? Marketing has moved on, especially recruitment marketing, and the last 10 years has become it's become a thing, right? Up until then, it wasn't really a thing. You probably didn't have actual marketeers in recruitment agencies up until maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Even
right?
beyond that, I mean, you take sort of marketing agencies out of the equation for a second. Marketing didn't have a seat at the table. There was no CMOs. You didn't have...
I mean, it's still rare these days, right? There's still...
There's more of them.
But more of them, yeah. I agree. And that whole thing about having a seat at the table, we talk about that kind of thing all the time. And that marketing is now this kind of leadership position, right, within recruitment. It's not just the colouring in department, right? There's a role to right?
Which he's going to love that. He'll use that a lot. Yeah.
But that's how we kind of... historically, that's how it may well have been seen, right? We're the guys in the corner doing little,
pretty pictures,
presentations, right? Can you jazz this up? Kind of bullshit that we tend to kind of get chucked our way. But that's not right that anymore, right? The marketing is so much more sophisticated, and it's becoming more and more sophisticated within recruitment marketing as well. So you need teams to understand how that works, right? You're not going to kind of be talking to your sales team around SEO or retargeting or account-based marketing or all the other stuff that goes on out there, right? Or how you're going to promote your kind of podcast, or however all this works. You need people that understand the mechanics of all of that. You know, and these days it's even moving into, you need someone who may be in charge of all your marketing automation, your marketing AI tools, whatever all this might well be, right? That's a marketing function. I mean, God knows what happened without marketeers, you know, to marketing websites or recruitment websites. If you didn't have marketeers playing around with them or keeping them up to date, they'd just die a death, right? They'd look terrible. But that's a marketing asset. So that's the role that marketing plays, and also now the more kind of gravitas marketing is starting to be given within recruitment, which is way different. Sales, you know, that is still almost kind of a pretty similar process, and it always has been within recruitment, you know, and it hasn't really changed. The way it's done, maybe, that kind of the speed at which it can be done, the efficiency which it can be done, the tools that are available to them, you know, all those kind of things, right? So if it's not picking up a phone, it's virtually picking up a phone somehow, right? To
making contact, outreach,
making contact,
in whatever way,
exactly, yeah, and it's different. That's where it's different.
So,
see, controversial opinion coming in now.
Go for it.
Shock.
I have a theory. Sales should sit in marketing.
I would love that.
Because, and I'll explain.
Yep.
I'll explain. Because what's the purpose of the marketing department? Is outreach, revenue increase, revenue generation, optimization, whatever, right?
Yep.
And the different various ways that they do that are by things like price, product, promotion, place.
Yep.
Right? Sales forms part of that. So, in my opinion, especially in the day and age that we're in now, we're in the information age. Buyer trends are changing. How consumers make decisions have changed rapidly. But for some reason in our industry, like you said, like the recruitment sales process hasn't really changed. And I think therein lies the problem. Because the problem is we're trying to sell our service in a way that worked 10 years ago, 15 years ago, to a market of people, including ourselves, who make buying decisions in a very different way. But we're not adapting that.
Is that not because we haven't got a product-based...
Well,
but we have got a product-based thing. You can buy whatever car you want. You can buy whatever phone you want. You can buy whatever beer you want. No one's standing in Tesco's going, "Oh, I see you're going to buy this BrewDog. Have you tried your Bell?" Like, no, they're not doing that. Right? You're making an active decision to make a purchase based on the marketing activities of that business or brand, right? And I think in recruitment, where we're missing the trick, and why I think a lot of recruitment agencies are struggling, especially to get their head around the marketing element, is that we say to our guys, post more on LinkedIn, boost your personal brand. Your people are your brand. Your recruiters that you've got sat on those desks, that's your brand. And they're going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not your clients or your candidates choose to work with you. Because they are the ones.
Well, they're a point of contact, right? But they're not the only point of contact. So marketing has done a lot of kind of. So you would hope if marketing is doing its job right, people are primed by the time they have that conversation.
But your salespeople should be supporting the marketing. Is that's my point, right? So you don't. You would never put. You would never put an SEO PPC specialist and say, "Oh, can you badge this up and make it look pretty?" Because marketing's so broad, right? In that you have specialisms within that. And in my opinion, sales is a specialism of marketing, because people make decisions now based on their own research and their own decision-making processes. Very rarely now, I mean, you think about, when was the last time you were sold something? You know, that I can sell snow to an Eskimo bullshit, that doesn't exist anymore. And the phrase of, "Oh, people buy from people," no, people buy from people they like. Or people buy from people like them.
Well, it's a relationship.
That's the saying, right?
Yeah. I think you're taking a lot away from the technicalities of sales as well, though, because there are some very kind of technical aspects and very kind of broad departments within marketing, but that's the same with sales as well.
Such as?
You've got things like your SDRs. Then you've got your technical. You look at the engineering team, because sales isn't just recruitment. It's not just car sales.
That's a sales process, though, right? That's
so is marketing. So
yeah. So what I'm saying is, sales should sit within a marketing function, because the sales. Nobody. If I rang you up tomorrow and was like, "I'm calling from Dyson," and you haven't heard from us, you don't know who we are, but I'll tell you, it's the best Hoover you've ever had, or vacuum cleaner, sorry, that you've ever had. Let me tell you, you're not going to buy it, right? It's just not going to happen. That's not the...
See, I think you're...
Outside of the kind of recruitment world,
yeah,
like telephony-based marketing doesn't work. Email marketing rarely works. But for some reason in recruitment, our immediate go-to is, have you not hit your target? James, slap the phones. Get on the phone, son.
Yeah.
Get your mailers out, son. It was like, yeah, that worked a decade ago, but people buy differently now. But we're not addressing that.
So I think maybe we're getting confused and we're using the term sales incorrectly to a certain extent, right? Because recruiters aren't salespeople, they're recruiters, because they've got a very different job to what you might have a salesperson who's selling a product, right? Because a recruiter has two audiences. He's got your candidates and he's got his clients, right? Which is, so it's your B2B and B2C, which is very different to a lot of other businesses, apart from maybe estate agency or something like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, so actually it's a bit more complicated and it's a bit more technical, right? To kind of blend both. In most sales jobs, you're either talking just to businesses or just to consumers. And so I think actually we are probably downplaying what a recruiter actually does by just referring to them as sales, because I think they're more than that. And I'm guilty of that as well. But I think this is one of the reasons why marketing needs to play a bigger part in this process, because we talk about B2B and B2C, right? So we understand that. And as a marketeer in recruitment, you're even talking about employer branding and things like that now, right? As well. So we're kind of filling these gaps that are just kind of popping up. And that's the roles that we're able to kind of bring B2B philosophies and methodologies to the client attraction, and B2C to the candidate attraction, right? And I don't think a recruiter probably would think about it in that way. That's just I've got to hit the phones and get fill this job, get some candidates from the database, and get 10 CVs over, right? They're not thinking about it almost kind of tactically that a good recruitment marketeer should be, in that there's a strategy over there, and there's probably an retention and attraction strategy
in the middle
as well, right? So I think that's one of the differences, is there's it's sort of sitting above it all, right? Now they can all kind of work together, and they should be working together. You know, you find in most businesses that you've got the sales guys over there, and then you've got the recruiters probably packed off over there. Now, usually the way it works is with a sales team of 20, you've probably maybe got one marketeer, if that, maybe an exec, right? That person should be embedded with the sales team, right? That's the way it probably should be, right? Because then because if they're a junior marketeer, then they're understanding exactly what the day-to-day, the sales team are effing and jeffing and swearing and just getting frustrated because they can't do their job. Now it's us to try and facilitate them to do that job, right? To make that easier, so they don't have to maybe make as many phone calls. So that's whole kind of process. So they can have better follow-ups, they can have better kind of inbound and all that kind of stuff. I think that is one of the roles that marketing has to play within a recruitment business, and it's starting to get there, right? It is definitely starting to get there. But I think that's one of the fundamental differences, is there's a tactical piece that marketing should be playing, as opposed to just the actual kind of coal-faced delivery piece.
I think there's an education piece for recruiters, in that recruiters, we spend, as agency owners, we'll spend a lot of money on training and development and training these guys to sell better, outreach, BD calls, that kind of thing. I think the same amount of attention and spend really needs to be spent on these guys for the marketing element as well, of things like understanding, mapping out a market, understanding the difference between how you position who you are and what you are to a B2B proposition versus a B2C proposition. How you can leverage different marketing tactics and different marketing kind of tools that are out there properly, right? Rather than just the traditional, well, you're a salesperson, just do sales. Because as we all agree, recruiters are more than just salespeople, a lot more than just salespeople. And we ask our recruiters to do more of the consultant thing, do less of this recruiter thing, do more of the consultant thing. But that plays more in hand with marketing yourself as a consultant, because you can't sell yourself as a consultant unless you're marketing yourself as a consultant. So that's my take on it, is they are one and the same, in that for me, sales should be part of a marketing function, because essentially the goals are the same. Revenue optimization and revenue generation is the goal for both departments. But you're in the realms of RevOps then, right? You're almost talking about kind of a RevOps team. Right? Which is now starting to become a thing. Yeah, exactly, right. And this is my point. I think there's some businesses are ahead of the curve and have jumped onto that and have accepted that the buyer behavior and sort of consumer patterns are changing, and the old way doesn't really work anymore. And I think, because if you look outside of the world of recruitment, how we make decisions to purchase are very, very different now, right? But for some reason, when we go back into our comfort zone of recruitment again, we kind of just assume that everybody's still the way they were a decade ago or 2 decades ago.
Yeah, I mean, and it's seen as being old-fashioned, right? We're seeing as being slow on the uptake. And again,
but we are.
I think that's changing, though. I don't think that is, because you take the example of the technology that's went out within recruitment. That's on par with any other kind of industry that's out there, right?
But not every recruitment agency has adopted that technology.
No, that's
so the tech
problem.
might exist,
Yes.
but the adoption rates aren't there. So when I say we are, I'm not talking. I'm talking from the perspective of, as agency owners, we are behind the curve. We are slow on the uptake because, by and large, the answer to the answer to the lack of revenue question is always the same. James, just pick up the phone more. Okay, I can pick up the phone more, but what the fuck am I doing with it? Like, Jesus Christ! Like, you're not really giving me the tools. You're just telling me to dial out more, right? Yeah, it is.
That's a different question, because what you're talking about.
That's because what you're asking your recruiter to do is sell more.
Yeah.
Whereas, and at the same time, you want them to consult. So which one do you want?
No, okay, but you're there's so many different spectrums on that question, right? Is if you're asking recruit to sell more, that's like asking your marketeer to market more, right? And that's the exact same thing, right? If you there are so many different aspects of marketing that I could say to a PPC person, right, I want you to write me some great content to post on LinkedIn. The guy's going to be like, well, I don't know if I can do that because I
define that,
yeah, right? In the same way that if I say to a recruiter, right, pick up the phone, make 10 BD calls today. he or she needs a purpose. They need direction and guidance, right?
But they don't always get that, though, do they?
No, but okay, take away
this.
poor leadership to aside for a second, right? If you're talking about our recruiters adapting, just from when you and I worked for businesses to when we do it ourselves, there's so much tech that we haven't taken up. And sometimes it's not because we don't see the benefit of that tech, it's because we can't afford that tech.
Yeah. And that plays a big part.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's a case of, okay, that tech solves the problem, but actually the problem isn't as big.
Yeah.
For me,
I bet you. One of the things we see a lot of is, instead of investing in tech or marketing, you go get another salesperson in, right? Yeah. That's where, and it's counterintuitive. It's a bigger risk, right? Because you brought in another recruiter who might not start billing for another 6 months, right? Whereas actually, it's probably cheaper to go down the marketing route, and get that all spooling up, because there's a long-term value and there's some short-term goals. This is the conversation we have almost on a daily basis.
But now you're talking
right?
sales versus marketing, right?
I am a little bit, yeah.
Because the dismissal of then you hire a recruiter and he might not bill for 6 months, but okay, after 6 months he probably will bill.
Yeah. Or you
hire a marketing person and we might not see a return on investment for the next 6 months
or at all. Yeah.
No, you will see. You're talking to the wrong marketeers. That's what it is.
Yeah.
No, I'm teasing, but you've got a point, and you're right. You don't.
Woody.
You don't want to get into that versus, right? Because that's
the danger, right? And I think this is where, when you're talking about sales should be in the marketing team, I think that's a very dangerous precedent, because what we're doing is we're totally stripping away kind of all the skills and the experience and the technical stuff that sales guys know, and just bundling that into marketing.
No, I don't mean it in the sense that it's less important, therefore it should sit in the department. What I mean is that without a strong, effective marketing function, it could be the best product in the world, but your salespeople are not going to be able to sell it in today's age. Heading into the world that we're heading into, the marketing part is almost more important than the quality of your sales team. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the marketing will inform the sales, right?
Because people have already made their decision to purchase.
I think the quality.
When was the last time you were sold something by a salesperson that you did not go in or have the intention to buy, but ended up buying because of the strength of just that salesperson? I'll tell you now,
something you'd never had any touch points with as well. That's the other thing.
Because I'll tell you now that it just, nobody can answer that question.
Are you talking about cold calling now, aren't you?
No, not necessarily. Like just walking down the street.
Because if
someone knocked your door.
But if we're talking about when have you been sold something, right? If we're recruitment and we're calling up and saying, look, I've got a candidate that I'm working with. This is the role that they're looking for. And you're speccing a candidate in. That has buying traction, because we know that that's a proven method that works, right?
But that's marketing though. Because you're marketing that candidate. You're marketing the product, aren't you? At that point, the candidate plays the role of the product. What I'm saying is, if you called up a engineering firm
Yep.
I'm calling to build a relationship with you because my boss has asked me I need to, I've read a few books and told me I need to build relationships with clients.
Right, but that's a poor recruitment. That's a poor sales process.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Right,
okay, I want 30 seconds because I want to. I want to tell you about what I do.
But that's a cold call.
Yeah.
Right,
but that's sales, though, isn't it?
No,
so different elements of sales.
We're branding sales as you have to pick up the phone and sell to that person immediately, and then you've made a sale. That's not how sales works. Mm-hmm. Sales works by opening up a conversation first. Now, that person might say to you, they might give you the time of day and say, yeah, go on. Then from a complete cold call, I'll entertain you. You and I have done that for forever, right? And we've built a business on doing that. And you end up then going into a route of, okay, I've got the meeting with the client. Let's go and try and win them over. The next call with somebody else might be, no, fuck off. I don't want I want nothing to do with you, right? And we work for businesses like Michael Page. So what people who we're calling up and saying, oh, it's Sean from Michael Page, they're going to know who we are. There's marketing been done. There's been mailers sent. There've been all sorts of campaigns.
Yeah, the brand is there.
So the marketing's been done, right? But at what point did that marketing then translate into, oh, here you go, Nitin, this particular client wants this particular candidate that you sent in the mail shot from our marketing team, and now you've got a sale off the back of it? Because that's the exact same question as, when is the last time you got sold something? Because all of it is a process.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, so when I say a sales and marketing in recruitment, one and the same, yeah, I think they are.
I think they have
because you can't have one without the other.
Well, you obviously have been, because there's lots of businesses that don't have any marketing, right? So they do exist without.
Lots of businesses that don't have sales teams.
Yeah,
well, it depends on what you quantify as marketing. That's the point.
This is it, right? Yeah, so
that's the point.
So if you go back kind of 20 years, marketing was picking up the phone and trying to make those relationships, and then calling again in a couple of weeks' time, and sending maybe something in the post, a leaflet, right? And you were trying to build up the relationship. Marketing then moved into we just kind of put a lot of that stuff online, right, where it was an email that was sent out, right? Now, marketing departments, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get ahead of of those sales teams. So when you make a call, it's not a cold call. There's no such thing as a cold call. We're warm. Yeah. Everything you do is warm, right? At that point, that's one of the functions of the marketing team, is make sure that the people you want to talk to, your target audience, are already warm, know of you, know what you stand for, know what you do. So that phone call isn't cold. It's never cold. It's always warm, because that person's always been warmed up, and they go, okay, at least they know of your brand. They may even know the logo. They may have watched a video or something.
I've seen your content. I've seen what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm aware of you.
It's basically shining a light on the product, the people, whatever aspect we're trying to shine a light onto. I said it before, and I think a marketing function for me is like a warm-up act in a stand-up comedy show.
Ouch.
No, it's.
I disagree. But you're very fiery about the concept of pushing sales into the marketing department. But yeah. I'm still not convinced though that they're separate entities. This is my point: is the way all big brands act and behave now. Sales is a part of the marketing function. It's the closers. It's the ones that take the demo to, from the meeting book to the demo to the sale. I'm not discounting what a sales department does. What I'm saying is it should never be sales versus marketing, and it is no longer sales and marketing
in something
anymore.
Like tech, though, that's easier, right? Because
I think it's now become.
If you're driving someone to a website to book a call, then the demo, and then they have a demo. That's actually an easier process.
But our industry is always late.
Sophisticated
our industry, you say that, but our industry is always late to the party wherever the trends are.
But that's because our product is different, though.
No, is it though, or is it because the leadership don't buy into it until it's been proven elsewhere? Because we all seem to follow suit in the end. In recruitment, we all seem to follow suit with whatever the buying trends are and whatever the sales trends are. Email mailers won't work. Fill envelopes and send them, and then it's like, oh, hang on, fucking hell, the whole world seems to be making money out of this. Let's try it then, right? A key point there. And like
mail shots have been in as long as I've been in recruitment. There's
but you've not been in recruitment as long as emails existed. So that's not the point.
I think we're moving towards that RevOps thing, right? I think that's that is the direction of travel. Right?
Because you're seeing a lot more chief revenue officers, aren't you?
Exactly, you are, and it's a combined it's because
function, the sales department don't want to be part of marketing,
whatever that might well be. That's a difficult sell in recruitment, because you've still got some old minds thinking that how do you move a 360 recruiter into that kind of space when they're not really doing all of that kind of stuff, right? And they're mixing with marketeers, so they're having to kind of almost understand a bit of that. Marketeers having to understand a bit of sales. I think that is where
it's not a bad thing, is it?
No, I'm not. Yeah. I think this is the direction of travel, and you know what? That's fine. What we do as marketeers probably won't change a huge amount. We just actually get access, and we've got buy-in from sales teams that we've always should have had buy-in from, and who want to understand what we do, and vice versa.
But I think if you're part of the same department, you have a better understanding and a level of like kind of equality and respect. So we spoke about this on podcast previously, right? Marketing, for whatever reason, is always like a head office function. Sales are on the front line.
Yep.
You're right. And they were never listened to. Like, they could come up with the most amazing concept in their minds, and head office have signed it off, and everybody agrees, and it's great. And the IT team are like, yeah, we can do that. That sounds fantastic. And then you roll it out, and the guys on the front line are like, this is stupid. Like, no one's listening to us. We've said this isn't what consumers want. This is what consumers want. Marketing say, no, our research tells us differently. Well, our customers are telling us differently. And there's always been that disconnect, right? And I think this is where, like, it's not just a case that you'll get the understanding or whatever, but I think you'll actually learn as marketeers. If we're sat within a revenue RevOps function, like, let's not call it marketing, right? Let's put them in the same.
Well, it's your growth department, whatever it is.
Whatever you want to call it, right? But we're all here for the same thing, which is to make more money than we made last year, right? So if you're there, the marketers, the marketeers could stand to learn a lot from the frontline salespeople, i.e. the recruiters.
But it can go the other way, though.
But also the other way, the recruiters could truly understand things like digital assets. Why are we asking this information? Why do you want me to, when I'm on the phone to my clients, ask them a question of the week? What are we doing with that information? And having that kind of level of transparency, I think, will only help. But the point that I'm making is that in our industry, in recruitment, we always seem to be behind the curve. A lot of other industries, fintech, edtech, software in general, have moved into that RevOps market already, and they have got sales and marketing teams collaborating.
Tactically and strategically,
but we seem to just be, our answer seems to always be the same. Marketing, pump me out some more material, give me a salary survey. The fucking world needs another salary survey. And while you're at it, James, hit the phones. You need to make 100 outbound calls. And it's sort of like, there's your problem. So you're complaining about lack of revenue, difficult market times, clients aren't hiring as much, or revenue per headcount is reducing. Because the market's changing. And you're not.
Well, it comes down to, there's loads of other things. I agree, right? But it can also swing too much in the other direction. So you don't want to get to a position where the sales teams are driving up into marketing and literally leading that process, because actually marketers should be guardians of your brand and of your messaging, and they're the ones who have this. They should have a bit more kind of oversight, right? A sole kind of recruiter, or if we take your thing,
so give me an example of what you mean by that.
So we've definitely been in positions where we have recruiters kind of ordering up, basically saying, "Oh, I need this, and this. I want a video. I want this piece of collateral. I want this." Or they go ahead and do it, start creating something themselves in Canva, right? Completely off-piste and out of brand, because they don't have the bigger picture that there is a larger brand, larger message, a larger position for this business.
So pause it there a minute. Then, as a business owner, and I think you'll agree on this, I would then push back to you and say, well, why aren't they aware of these things, right? You're the marketing department.
And you've got every right to do that. And that is
if you're annoyed at Nathan's made his own Canva video and decided to put that out that's off-brand, well, he doesn't understand why. Why he can't do that. So I'm not going to stop him. You have to educate him.
And I agree. I agree. And I'm not saying that marketing is completely, doesn't have a responsibility in all of this. We're actually one of the worst people to kind of to do that kind of thing, because I think we, again, like a lot of salespeople, just get kind of in our own bubble, right? And we think we know best, and we think we're to do this.
Because as a department, your head office. Which comes back to our point, doesn't it? Because you don't see sales as not you, right? As in, marketing in general, do not see sales as equal partners of the same outcome or direction. we're going to tell you what to do. We're going to tell you can't put that logo there because that's not on brand, and we're doing this and we're doing that and we're changing this. You just got to do it. You're the salespeople. Just go and sell, right? And that's the issue, right? So when I asked the question on LinkedIn, are sales and marketing one and the same in recruitment? Well, the answer should absolutely be yes. They should be.
They should be.
They should be.
They should
but
be.
Are they? No, not right now.
No, but what you're talking about really is the kind of the mission and vision of a brand, right? Because, okay, if the end goal is to get more business, and sales and marketing are kind of the ambassadors getting that business, but then so is every department, right? Every department has a responsibility for the success of that company. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what size the business is.
But they're not all front facing. They're not all client facing, right?
You've got front, middle, back office.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
right. Yeah.
Like finance absolutely care about revenue, but they can't influence revenue. Sales and marketing can. But if sales is pushing this way and marketing's pushing this way, you're not going this way. You know what I mean? You're static.
But this comes back to that kind of, I think, some of this slow uptake on tactics and strategies, right? There's all kinds of things within marketing tactics that are just never used or rarely used within recruitment, right? Account-based marketing, right? A huge advocate of that. And that basically is where you treat a client or group of very, very specific clients as one market in their own, right? Mm-hmm. And the sales team and the marketing team work together to target those and be hyper kind of like personalized and focused on that. So, we always use we work with tons and tons of IT recruiters. They always want to get into they want to get IBM or someone like right? The way you do that is you be hyper specialized and focused on that one client. You map out who's in that business. You map out together, right? Who are the influencers within that business? Who's doing what on LinkedIn? Who's posting on a daily basis? Who can we kind of start commenting on their posts? How can we get some branded or co-branded content in front of
visibility?
Them? All of that kind of stuff. That can't be done by just marketing, and that can't be done just by the recruiters. It has to be done as a team and almost as a unit, all pushing in the same direction, right?
In the recruitment world, I would argue that the recruiter is more likely to make a quicker, more effective impact in that scenario, right? However, it's marketing's job to give that recruiter the education, not just the tools, right, but the education to sit and explain to him. I had this conversation earlier with Ben upstairs. Ben really wants to work in the F1 space. Mm-hmm. He's got a handful of candidates at various different F1 businesses, and he's really like, I want to get in this, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And I've gone, why are you not posting about F1 then? Oh, well, I don't know. Well, start there. Mm-hmm. As a business, there's no point in Michael Sharma Group posting about F1. Oh, good luck to fucking I don't know, whatever race is happening right now. Yeah. Right? There's no point. That's not going to hit the market. But you're connected with these people. Spark a debate. Has something happened over the weekend? Talk about it.
But it might require a marketing brain to kind of just to craft. It, right?
So it was my job.
Entry into
exactly, right? And it was my job to educate him on the. Listen, if you just talk about that and other people who care about F1 start commenting on it, eventually your F1 network are going to see that. Mm-hmm. So you sending an email saying, I really want to work with you because I love F1 means fuck all. I really want to work with you. Here's a good candidate for you. Oh, and by the way, you recognise my name and my picture and all the rest of it because I'm that guy on LinkedIn that you're connected to that's constantly talking about current events in F1.
Yeah.
Okay, he does genuinely give a shit about this hyper-focused industry that we want to talk about. But that's our job as kind of the owners of the business, but actually my job as the more marketing-focused person to have educated him with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's a combination, right? So that's almost what we're talking about campaign. Yeah. So it's both marketing and recruiters working together, pushing in the same direction. One doesn't really work without the other. And that's just one part of.
Well, I think for me, what I'm saying is that's an example of how marketing have historically always kind of been like, we do the marketing, well, we said it previously, not you.
Right? When we were at various different businesses
we're only allowed to say Michael Page twice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it sends us a letter from Squire Pot and
Yeah. So I could name you one person from the marketing team. I wouldn't be able to give you a single name.
Mark sat in there was that Irish woman.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
That highlights my point, right?
Yeah.
And before that, we were at Nationwide, or when I was at Listers, or wherever, mm-hmm. right? I couldn't name you a single person in the marketing team.
Yeah. The one time I heard from somebody in marketing was at Skipton Building Society when I put something out on something. I can't remember. It might have been LinkedIn.
Or something.
And they were like, "You need to take that down. That's not on brand." And I was just like, "Okay."
Well, I'll tell you. So traditionally, though, it can be difficult for the marketing team to be everywhere all at once because usually the sales teams are way bigger, right? It's 20 to 1 or something like that.
So invite them in.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm not saying, and again, not talking about too much about what we would always try and get in front of.
Stop trying to plug your shit, mate. We'll get to that.
Exactly, I know, right? Yeah. But we would always try and talk to the people that are on the coalface. We want to have those relationships with, and it's easier for us because most of the businesses we work with are SMEs or they're only up to about 50 men or something like that. So that's easier. It gets way more difficult for the marketing department to do that when you are spread across different regions and everything like. We could hold webinars these days, or we can hold. But you're going to see some people kind of as soon as that camera goes off for the salespeople, they're already making phone calls or something like that. So I don't disagree that there is a
disconnect of some sort,
something there, right? And it is partly responsibility of marketing to influence that, okay? But there's also a way of all these other influences, right? Sales directors, MDs, CEO. All need to kind of have that in their mind that this is the way this business works culturally. This is all one thing, and that is very difficult. And again, recruitment, being in the state that it's in, is only now catching up to that.
Why is that? Because that was a question I want to ask you. Why do you think we're so slow on the uptake as an industry?
I think there's not enough new blood in our industry. Okay, even I'm getting old in the tooth, right? I'm nearly 47 now, and I'm I don't look it, right?
I look 47.
But what I mean, even I say to my there's only so many times I can talk to clients about TikTok, right, before I sound like an old man, right? But there just isn't this new blood. A lot of businesses, what tend to happen with recruitment agencies is it's an ex-recruiter sets up on their own, and they just get a bit old, and what they do, they take those processes. It's like they get stuck in time at that point. Right now, there are lots of smaller businesses that are coming up, and even bigger businesses that have a slightly different philosophy. But the overwhelming thing is it's been run by someone either since the 80s, 90s, and we tend to get also people saying to us, "I would love to go back to using Rolodex." It's like, yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be able to work together.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But
because they're trying to get back to the glory days, aren't they? That's what it is.
Why can't this be the glory days? What isn't? I bet if you're coming into the industry now, it's pretty cool actually.
Tech changing is that's like a thing, right? The anxiety of how fast tech changes and stuff. And there's already talk about there will be a point where a subsection of people will want to almost press pause on technology and be like, I just want to live within this tech. Yeah. So yes, AI might blow up and VR might become a thing, and holograms might be a thing, but I don't want to live in that world. Yeah. So I'm going to live in this part of the world where we paused technology in 2012, and it never progressed beyond that. So like that kind of anxiety is there. That exists, right?
But that's always been there. So we had that when job boards came along, when the internet came along. Yeah. We're having it now when now AI's here. You know what? Recruitment is still here, right? Recruiters are still here.
Yeah. But the job's different.
Yeah, but so it was when we introduced Steam into the process and everything. It's just kind of like it doesn't really.
I don't think the job is different though, because if you think about it, right, the marketing job isn't different either. It's just the way we do things. We've got more capacity to be able to do things, and I think that the issue is there are those very traditional recruiters that you're talking about who are still stuck in the stone age of like, I've got to make 50 BD calls, 50 candidate calls, I've got to book people to come into the office to do registration, that sort of nonsense. Absolutely, that's dated. But the principles are still there. Well, you still have to reach out and generate.
I think the goals have stayed the same.
Yeah.
I think the way you do it has changed.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what it is. So the recruitment process of candidate, CV, interview, placement, right? And client, role, candidate, right? That doesn't change. Those kind of elements in it haven't really changed, right? How that's all connected and the role of a recruiter at their point in that process may have changed. They may do more or less, probably less. Mm-hmm. The role of the marketing department to drive leads and all that kind of stuff hasn't changed. The way it's done has, and also and again, this is I think this is coming back to what we've been talking about is the respect and the gravitas that marketing has within recruitment businesses, that is the bit that's changing and need to change even further. And that's actually on us as marketeers to educate everybody watching this and everybody else to say, this is what we do. We don't get it right every time, but this is actually what that process can now look like, right? This is what all the kind of stuff that's available to us. You need someone like us to do this, because we can work. We can work with a recruitment team. We can kind of work with the CFO. We can make sure we can do all of this kind of stuff, and that's, I suppose, kind of bigging our part a little. But actually, as a marketeer, I feel that we need to have our fingers in a lot of pies, that people need to, like the guys in the accounts department, they probably have to have some understanding of what marketing's doing, because all they're seeing is they're signing off checks for all this kind of stuff that's going on.
The accounts team have adapted, though, and they've created commercial finance and finance business partners and that sort of stuff, where you've got an accountant whose job it is to go out there and understand the marketing budget,
understand the commercial side of the business.
Why they're doing those sort of things, really kind of be front-facing, customer-facing. So you were saying before that other departments don't have the customer-facing elements. Well, they kind of do now, because the accounts department have got business partners that go out there and do that. The IT department have got business analysts who go out there and understand kind of what the qualms are for the operational guys using the tech. Marketing, I think, have been a little bit late to adopt. When we said it, we wouldn't.
Comes back to it all the time, doesn't it? Yeah. Like what? Fucking 30 episodes ago, we were like, recruitment business partner. No, sorry, marketing business partner needs to be a thing. Mm-hmm. You need a marketing person whose pure job it is to go to the front-facing parts of the business, not just the recruiters, but customer service, resources, account managers, whatever you want to call them, and however your business is structured, right? And explain to them, who are we? Why are we this way? Why is branding important? Why is our proposition important? What does price, product, promotion, and and all the 4 Ps? Why is that important? And educate that side. But also listen to what they're saying and go back to head office and say, right, we've got it wrong.
Yeah.
On these things, we're not on the point.
That's great for a bigger business, right? For smaller, with the majority of recruitment businesses, they're pretty small, right? So you're probably not going to be in that position, but it makes it easier for people like me to actually do all that kind of education. And actually,
but your recruiters could be your marketing business partners by educating them, rather than having that kind of old school mentality of it used to work in the glory days. I need that Rolodex back. Give me a telephone and a phone book and I'll make money happen. Now is the time, I think, because we talk about this off camera, right? The overall overwhelming trend at the minute is people are struggling. Recruitment businesses are struggling, and the blame is being pointed on the people aren't good salespeople anymore and all the rest of it. And there's a whole host of reasons, but I think there is an element of, part of the reason is your recruiters don't understand marketing, but in its truest sense. Not the colouring in department, but the marketing department. The digital asset creation, the call to actions. Great that you're posting on LinkedIn, but what are you posting and why are you posting it? What's the end goal? What are you trying to achieve? And I think marketing departments and certainly outsourced businesses like yourselves, yes, you could be brought into a business to control the marketing function, but actually you guys should be spending a lot of time with the front line to upskill these guys so that they don't have to rely on you as much to do and do more of the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I would hope, again, that the guys in my business do a certain amount of that, right? Because they're smaller businesses that we work with. And then it is completely possible. But you're right, there is a lot of responsibility, not just on businesses like mine, but just recruitment marketeers in general. Right, there's 3,500 recruitment marketeers in the UK. Right, we will have a responsibility.
Businesses or individuals?
Individuals, sorry, yeah. Individuals.
Where did you get that?
We had some research done this time last year, and then we
3,500 recruitment marketers.
And just said, hands up if you're a recruitment marketer. And
1, 2,
or a salesperson. And it is the responsibility of the majority of them, right? To lift the profile and to make everybody understand exactly what we do. Okay, and I know, I talk, regularly with our peers of thinking circles, and we talk about this almost on a regular, but that we need to be better at just telling the market generally what we do, and then also actually informing our clients of what we do. right? Instead of them just coming to us and say, we know we've heard about this thing called marketing. We hear it's really good. We need some of that, right?
A lot of the issues.
I need a poster. Can you make me a poster?
Exactly. All
a
of
lot
that.
of the issues are as well now. There's so many different types of like flash in the pan type marketing.
Yeah.
Where it's like I can increase my number of followers and people will laugh and poke fun at kind of all the shit that I'm doing that's really funny and quirky. But actually, you're not marketing your business. You're just being a bit of a twat for like half an hour of fame. On LinkedIn, you increase your following and then you disappear, don't you? And I mean, I look at people like.
Don't name drop everyone.
I look at people
like.
Who, okay, so Sean Anderson came on our podcast, right?
Yep.
And he said something to me which really kind of resonated. He's like, look, if I put content out, I'm putting it out so that the people that I want to connect with within my business are relevant. They're liking my post, they're viewing my post, they're commenting. And his thing is exactly that. I'm talking to the audience that I want to talk to.
Yeah.
Now that I think is the education piece, where a lot of people are trying to find sort of almost quick fire success is let me post a funny meme.
Yeah.
Let me fucking post a video of like a dog or whatever. And just
but this is the problem. This is this marketing thing around quick wins, right? I hate that term, quick wins.
It depends on what you quantify that sort of marketing as, which I get what you're saying with that, right? However, it's also association stuff as well, right? It's that whole break down the fourth wall. Let me show you what I'm like outside of work. Perhaps we can find something that we both have in common. You know, do you know what I mean? Like there is a rationale behind it. Now, I don't think everybody who posts that sort of stuff is thinking about it in that way, but that's why meme pages do so well. That's why like pictures of dogs do so well, because actually there are people who are not looking at it from a marketing or a sales perspective and literally just going, oh, that's a really cute dog. Here's a picture of my dog. I like you, you like me. And when I think recruitment, the next time I'm going to be like, oh, there's somebody on my LinkedIn network who I know.
Now, cynically, I would actually say that if we're talking about LinkedIn, people doing that on LinkedIn and using it, LinkedIn's not Facebook, kind of crap.
Yeah.
I know. But actually, that kind of stuff is probably more down to LinkedIn than it is down to that person who's posting that stuff. Because LinkedIn will think, because LinkedIn want to be Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And so they're probably amplifying and throttling up that stuff.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, we won't go to detail.
So these guys unknowingly
have just tapped into that. Yeah, exactly. Have tapped into that.
But that's more copycat marketing, though, isn't it? I've seen somebody have a really successful post doing this, therefore I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like when people do the Benjamin Dennehy, can I have 30 seconds or do you want to jump off a cliff sort of thing. People don't know why they're doing it. They just know that it's something that works.
And then they get their 30 seconds and they just fucking their arse goes, because they don't know what to do with it.
And if you increase your following by like 10, 20, 30,000 by putting some quick win post up and you get that success. Okay, well now what do you do with it? Because now you've got.
Is it a relevant audience?
And this is the point.
That's as a marketer, that's my first thing. It's like, and again, I'd agree with Sean. You want to put stuff that's relevant. And if it's a slow burn, it's a slow burn, right? But but it's talking the language and talking to the audience that you want to talk to, and it's relevant. That's always a term that always gets lost. It's relevancy to who you want to talk to.
Because we're in this influencer world. Look, you got to remember, right? The what is it? Zillennials? Have you heard of this term? Zillennials, So you got your Gen Z Zillennials, right?
Yeah.
Influencer marketing and influencer behavior, linked influencers, and all the rest of it. That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's all they're trying to do. They're not listening or thinking about relevancy or relevant market because they're not thinking that long term.
Are they just trying to get the following up so they're
looking for the dopamine hit, the hype, the clout, and the I've got X many followers, and then hopefully some brand will come to me and be like, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
So the actual relevancy of the followers is really not important.
But that's
to that person.
But that's one section of the user base, right?
And that's also winning the lottery, isn't it? Really, if you
but those are the people that are doing the irrelevant stuff and not bothering about the relevancy of.
But it's a good point around influencer marketing. And again, this is something we bash on about. It's like, again, this is one of these other tactics that's not used in recruitment. It's like, why do we not tap into more influencers, right? within recruitment. There's so many kind of people who have got these relevant networks, may not be massive networks, but relevant networks.
Do you know why?
Right?
And it's most people in recruitment are fucking batshit crazy and have got skeletons in their closets.
Well, no, it's not necessarily. But if you're a recruiter, that's not the kind of a person you're going to reach out to. If I'm in IT, the influence I'm going to talk to.
I want to go to
I want to talk to someone
CTO who runs a big group or a forum.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're Richard Bradshaw's in the test world.
If you're in education, right, there's enough teachers on TikTok or something like that who kind of have, why you are not talking and reaching out to them to figure out how you can kind of all work.
Because we're slow on the uptake.
Oh yeah, I
because you know why? That's a waste of time. James, get on the phone and dial it 100 times, and eventually you'll find somebody who wants to work with you.
Okay, so here's the disconnect though, right? Because marketing, the target is long term.
Yes, yeah.
Sales, in any capacity, whether that's recruitment or any other sales, you're living month by month.
Yep.
You've got your monthly target, hit it. You got to bill this much. You got to sell this many of whatever. You've got to do that. And me finding an influencer and
I get that.
Getting to them and getting them to post about me and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, okay, that might be great for month 6, but I've got to do that at month 1 and see no success of it until maybe month 6.
Yeah, so it's a blended approach, isn't it?
But that doesn't. I mean, we still get judged on a month-to-month basis, right? And again, this is down to this education piece that. The conversations we have when we're onboarding is like, when can we see a return? And it was like, okay, how long is a piece of string?
12 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Minutes.
But you have to manage expectations. You're right. There is a medium to long term kind of effect of marketing, and I think that is again one of our educations to get right. This doesn't happen overnight. And if you're a business, and I was talking to a businessman, never done any marketing. Right, as in the stuff that we would class marketing as
proper marketing.
Yeah. What are you on about? Proper got a logo right? And a website.
Exactly. And I was like, you're going to have to, you have to give us 6 months to do this from a standing start. Right, you've got nothing. You've got to give us some time. And it's like, well, I don't want to spend X amount of thousands of pounds per month to do it. I was like,
then don't.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Go see somebody else.
Yeah, go see someone else. Go see someone else, and we'll see you in 6 months, basically, right? But again, this is an education piece. It's an education piece.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to bite that. I thought he was going to go.
I thought he was going to slip in, and we were like, we have to fucking beat that out.
I'm too fucking canny. I've done it too many times, right? I know what I'm doing. But it comes down to the education piece, and this is where it's the onus on us to kind of educate. It's like, this is why I don't like the term quick wins, right? And if everybody comes to me, we want some quick wins. It's like, well, you want a quick win.
Yeah. James, make my post go viral.
Plug something into LinkedIn.
What do you mean by a quick win? What do you want? An increase in followers? You can buy those.
Well, this is
like, do you know what I mean? Like, is that what you want? Yeah, you can buy those. Like, I want 500 views on my fucking YouTube video. I can buy those for you. Yeah. There's your quick win.
Yeah.
Like, is it maybe then that the difference really between sales and marketing is kind of that sales is really more short to medium term, and marketing would be more medium to long term then?
I think that's a place to start, right? I still think there are different roles that they play within the business. Okay, I think the goals of the sales team is always going to be slightly different from the goals of the marketing team.
I disagree.
I know.
It's revenue. That's all. I think the whole reason these both departments exist is revenue. Tell me I'm wrong.
James, you are wrong.
Convince me I'm wrong. Like,
I think you're still because they're not the same. They're not the same people, right? They're not the same people. They're not the same.
We're talking about the goals here.
So if
a goalkeeper and a striker aren't the same person.
If my marketing team is there to drive leads, right, which is one of the things we get to bring in those warm leads into the business.
Why is that important?
Because then you get the salespeople to convert those.
Why is that important?
Because I know where you're going.
Exactly.
I know. But I'm not saying it's not.
They both want the same thing.
The role is
one and the same.
The role is different.
It's not
how they do it is different, and their skill sets are wildly different. And I'm not discounting that at all, but they're both going for the same goal. They both want to head in the same direction. The problem is, as it stands right now, marketing want to go this way, sales go that way, and guess what? You don't go forward.
But there's other things. So you've got with generation leads, we're brand building as well, and also those kind of things, which you aren't going to get the sales teams to do. They may be able to build their personal brands, right? And
but
that's a whole other
thing. Their personal brand will build the product and the product brand, because your people are your brand. Like we've all acknowledged.
That's a really broad kind of.
We've all
philosophical now.
Okay, well, look, right. We've all acknowledged that the recruitment industry is behind on trend, right? Apple don't sell phones; they sell a lifestyle. They sell a vision and all the rest of it, right? people who work for Apple or people who used to work for Apple will tell you that they work for or used to work for Apple. Right,
and S3 people that work for
and
S3,
yeah. Apparently, people who are ex S3 really.
Is that right, Andy Hammond?
They need you to know they're ex S3 because that means something.
So tell you they're vegan.
Yeah. How'd you know? Yeah, like I just think that we acknowledge that we're behind on the trend, but then even as people in positions that could drive that change, we still refuse to. Like.
But Apple is different though, isn't it? Because Apple isn't recruitment.
But it's not. Fundamentally, it's not, right? As a business, if all I care about is revenue, I don't need a marketing team. I need a phone, like a call center full of phone bashers who are good salespeople, right? Why do I need a marketing team then? Because the point is, we all want to build a brand in 2024 and onwards.
Apple don't have salespeople. They have stores. They're retail outlets where
their focus is marketing. That's why. Because their entire focus to shift their product is marketing.
Right, but then Tesla have a sales team.
But their sales process is the most different sales process to anyone else in car sales. So again, marketing.
It's not marketing.
Of course it is. No. Choosing to go into a retail unit and a shop and say, right, yeah, we'll book you in for a test drive, but you've got to come here or we'll pick you up and then we'll take you on a day out and all the rest of it. Whereas BMW, Mercedes, Audi don't do those things. That's a marketing technique,
which
is part of the sales process.
But that's the wrong competitor. If you're going to compete with Tesla, you got to talk about the same level of brand. So you're talking then about Aston Martin, Ferrari. You're talking Porsche.
I don't think Porsche, Aston Martin, and Ferrari in the same breath as Tesla.
Luxury car items, right? Those guys, you go over there.
Not really, no.
You go over there and you do the test drive of like the experience day test drive. You don't do just that. I'm here to buy a car. And
I mean, I think retail marketing is different from recruitment marketing.
Yeah, no, of course it is.
Right?
So I
get I don't disagree that, I think the trajectory is towards this kind of revenue generating department, right? Whatever that might look. We're not there yet. I guess I take a snapshot of where we are at the minute, and they are two, as it is of today, they are two different things. So it's a difficult sell to a recruitment agency. Like, you know what, we're going to come in, we're going to re-engineer your business so you've just got one department where it's marketing, it's sales, it's revenue generation. That is just, that's not, it's just in a different stratosphere at the minute for most recruitment agencies to think like that. And I'm not saying that is right or wrong before you kind of I'm not
ridiculous, mate.
You possibly are right, and again it's all a result of everything we've talked about, that we're slow to uptake, we're just behind the times, we haven't got enough new blood, all that kind of stuff. But if you take it where it is today, that's the situation we're in. And as a business operating with businesses like that at the minute, I can't change their minds like that or overnight. If I was to change our model to say, look, we are going to be working only with businesses that are in this kind of RevOps mindset, that reduces the businesses I can work with in the UK down to about 0.001 or something, right? Now, does marketing have the influence to change that over time? No, because we're just never going to be big enough. We're never going to be ugly enough to do that. That is someone else's problem to a certain extent. We have to be aware of it. We have to be, and deal with it when it comes along, and accept it, whether we like it or not. That's the thing, the way it's going. But we aren't there yet. All right.
Okay. I don't agree, but no, that's fair.
No, I don't.
It's all right not to agree.
I know I'm not going to win.
That's the beauty of this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you, James. I'm totally there. I think it's like there are two different departments. But I think the other thing to take into account as well is if you go into a recruitment business and you're saying to them, I want you to significantly change the way you do things in terms of the marketing and lead generation, all that sort of stuff, you're actually you're asking the recruitment business to put a lot of trust into something they've never done before. And it's about then changing the mindset of, and that, I think that comes to small beginnings. That's going to be almost let's do this first, see the success of that. And then
I hear that.
Your business transformation of that. And I'm not, that's not what we are.
If you're already offering an outsourced marketing service, you're already addressing that issue of, here's something you've never thought about or done before. Let me put the trust in me to do that. Mm-hmm. Unless all you're going after is churning people who are already outsourcing their marketing to you, right? You're already educating people. And I feel as though if the buy-in was there from yourself, you're already doing that sales journey of, listen, Mr. Client, you have identified a gap. You need me to come in and look after your marketing. This is how I'm going to do it. It's just the solution that you're providing is different. That's all I'm saying. That's all my take on it is. However, I appreciate what you're saying. You've been doing it for 12 years. You obviously know what the fuck you're doing, right? So how do our audience get in touch with you? If there's people out there that are like, I need James in my business to tell me what not to do.
So you can search for James Whitelock all over kind of LinkedIn.
Not Whitlock.
Not Whitlock.
That's another guy. We don't like him.
Or you can search for... that guy's a real... No. Or Thinking Circles on any of the kind of platforms. We're on LinkedIn and Facebook and TikTok. We're not on X. I banned it, basically. But yeah, just you can search for us. You can Google us. We're all over the place. And you know, if anybody's enjoyed it or kind of has anything to say about anything we've discussed today, then feel free to reach out. I'm sure I've got an opinion on it.
You got a podcast yourself as well?
We do, yeah. So we've got the Marketing Rules podcast. We talk to people like yourselves.
What's that about?
It's about
Marketing
sales.
rules.
It's about sales.
Rule number 1: don't talk about sales.
No, but we talk to kind of we try and get people on who kind of maybe can influence the recruitment space who may not have had a voice within it before. So we talk to a lot of kind of tech providers. We talk to kind of other people within kind of marketing from other industries, and also we talk to people within recruitment and things like that, just to maybe doing things a little bit differently. So it's just trying to kind of give a bit of a different spin and educate our audience.
That's key. That's the key.
Well, James, thanks for coming on.
It's been good, mate. Yeah,
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Really do.
Cheers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.